Ricardo joins us, a PGMOL match official who was in charge of the game between Port Vale and Notts County on Thursday. A huge game in that promotion race. Thank you so much for coming in. We're going to walk through some decisions and the way that officials go about running football matches, a really key part of obviously everything to do with the EFL and everything to do with making football tick. Luke Chambers was in the studio for that one. So, Luke, we're going to get your insight as well, my friend. So, 3 separate incidents with commentary. The first one being in an opening part of the game, Ruebyn, when it comes to what you're trying to say during the course of a piece of action happening. We're going to watch the piece of action first, then break it down. First one up, please.
OK. 11 middle, 8 middle, 22 middle, 8:22. Reset. Now.
No, hits his thigh, next decision.
No mistake. Now.
Attacking touch. Dogso. Corner ball.
Possible short rubes early doors, be aware.
Confirmed.
White 23.
So, Ruebyn, we just sit there watching football and it all unfold, but your job is way busier, isn't it?
Just a bit.
And it's a constant source of communication, obviously. He's obviously not there talking to yourself, you're talking to the 2 assistant referees and also the 4th official as well. Yeah. Given what we just saw there, could you just break it down for us and tell us what you were looking at in each and every portion?
Yeah, of course. So the first part of the clip, we've got the assistant referee saying numbers.
Yeah.
So he's saying in terms of a possible offside decision. Okay. So when that ball comes in play, anyone that's blocking or may impact any attacking or defending players will probably penalise for offside there. But then he says reset. Yeah. So that reset button resets him, as in there's no offside decision.
So that's another phase of play? Is that what you...
Yeah, so in terms of that decision there, offside is no longer on the table. Yeah. So that reset button resets him, resets myself and members of the team. Yeah. So I'm focused on to the next phase of play. Yeah. Obviously, the ball breaks out as it does normally, and this is the main focus point here, so this little bit here. Yeah. So you hear me shout Dogso,
which is?
Denial of obvious goal score opportunity. Okay. And in that situation, we're looking at what the defender actually does. Is it impactful? Is it sustained? Is it fleeting contact? Is it expected contact? And all the situations here that we see are deemed on the data to be expected contact, so play on and corner ball awarded.
So when you talk about the contact as well, because this is expected, isn't it, of course, during the course of a football match. But if that's prolonged, if there's a bit more of a pull, suddenly your focus shifts to whether then that becomes something to penalise.
100%. So we look at, in these situations here, we look at the contact. Yeah. So is that contact sustained? And if it is it impactful? So does that impact Tolledge's movement to break onto the ball and have a shot at goal? Yeah. And then if it's not, then we look at more fleeting contact. So just a quick little grab, expected contact to then play on, as we see in the clip. So, yeah, you're right. This will be a completely different situation if the Port Vale, Notts County defender, keeps hold, it's sustained. Okay. Tolledge's movement's been affected by this movement and this contact, then I'll look to penalise. But I think here we have to credit Tolledge because it feels contact, but we want to see that in the game. We expect that defender on striker, but he continues to play on and shoot, and I think credit to him as well.
Yeah, as I saw that happen, immediately I thought, there's an opportunity for him to go down, by a foul, give you an even more difficult decision to make. But like you say, he's really, really honest in the way he gets away straight away, and then Johnson does tremendous to get back and make the block. But it's that initial hands-on to get himself round just there, where you think, if he does go down, what would be your thought process then?
Yeah, so in terms of Dogso, we look at direction. So direction of the ball is the first thing. So is the direction going towards the goal or away from the goal? This situation it's towards. We then look at defenders. So is there any defenders that are going to make a challenge onto that? And if there's any doubt in that, that removes the obvious element. Then we look at distance. So distance from the goal, very, very close. So, yeah, don't get me wrong, if there's a sustained hold here and he gets pulled to the floor, this would be a free kick and a red card. But again, we see that fleeting contact, so that removes all that off the table.
So was that 1-1 then for you? Correct.
It's a great decision, and the play is allowed to go on, but it's the amount of decisions that you have to make in those. I don't think about that when I'm maybe having a few discussions with the referees when I'm on the pitch, but it's those amount of decisions you have to make and consider, which makes the decision-making process really, really impressive.
Well, you mentioned discussions with players. There's another little clip here about talking to players and the way that officials and players come together.
Proactive comms,
Okay,
what's the 8 looking like?
And number 8 in offside position. Be aware, blocker, not looking at the ball.
Confirmed. Driver, get a view.
Proactive in there, Rubes, yeah. 8. Have a chat if you need to.
Listen. I know, in that situation, arms to yourself. If it's holding you, I'll go in and deal with it. You keep your arms to yourself.
Okay, 8 not looking at the ball, body position closed.
It's a fascinating way to see how these decisions come together. But I think the most important thing as former players, Luke, it's how a referee or an official approaches a situation such as that. And even in the body language of walking up to address a situation, Ruebyn, it's calm, it's relaxed, it's, hang on, let's do this before the ball comes in. Is that something that's premeditated? Do you have to feel almost the kind of the heat of the room before you actually make your decision about how to approach a player?
100%. I think internally sometimes we can feel like the tempo is really high, but we can't portray that image. So it's really important that even though the temperature of the game's up, our emotions at all times are very sort of in control. This situation off the ball, there is Nathan Smith and Matty Palmer getting a bit hands-on and a little bit pully, and look, we expect that also. But we want to be, in these situations, proactive, so on the front foot. So we rather prevent rather than have to do something afterwards. So I stop the game, walk into Matty, play that I've refereed before, and I think sometimes just a calm message is the way forward. And I think showing those interpersonal skills in this situation is really important. We don't want to go in there marching in. We don't want to go in there pointing fingers at people. We want to be in there nice and calm, approachable. It's a firm message, but it's a message that I like to think that a player goes, I can understand that.
I mean, it's such a key thing, isn't it, Luke? It's amazing to listen to,
Because a lot of my experiences have been, the referee will stand away, he'll whistle, and he'll go, you, come here. Whereas you've just really just strolled in there, immediately killed any sort of animosity, any aggression, any sort of emotional problems. And for me, that's how it should be dealt with, because all players want to be is listened to, spoken to, and then maybe explained why these decisions and what you're actually seeing, as opposed to you've got Nathan Smith pinching you, pulling you, doing absolutely everything under the sun to unsettle you. So yeah, it's really nice to see that, because that's something that I think that should be a standard practice for a referee.
Also, the other thing that players always want is for decisions to go their way. Here's a handball shout.
No. We're playing. No, natural position, side his body line, corner ball. No.
Is he all right, Rubes, on halfway line, the play that we're down?
Yeah, looks fine. No, inside his body line. Nah. Hey, Nate's getting you.
So the shot's taken, the shout goes up. What has to go through your mind, Ruebyn, to make sure that what is being appealed for, i.e. handball and a penalty, isn't then given?
Yeah, so look, I mean, I think it starts a little bit before that. I think in order to get into a decision where we can see it as accurate as I did, I think it's that point of getting an angle.
Yeah. Okay.
So you see me make that arcing run across the penalty area. Yeah. Look, we want to see as much detail as possible. We want to get into a position where we are credible and we are accurate. Yeah. In order to do that, that comes from work rate, which comes up into the build of the week and how we prepare for the match. So what happened here, there's a shot's taking place, and I think handball is very subjective at times. And there's multiple factors we have to consider. Is the arm naturally bigger? Is there a secondary motion? Is it a natural position? Is it inside his body line? And all these things. It's not a case of the ball's hit his hands, so it's a handball. So all these things in a short space of time are running through my head. But as we see here, we see George Abbott in a normal running motion. It's close proximity. He cannot move his arm out of the way. It's inside his body line. So here I deemed it to be a corner ball. But the reason why I explain that so quickly is, one, for the team, as in my team, and then two, for the players that are in and around me. So you have that sort of conviction to say, listen, this is what it is. This is my rationale behind it. It's a corner ball. And I think players accept that, to be honest.
So I suppose the key thing as well, Luke, is if it is explained, like, because fundamentally, believe it or not, we all do know the laws of the game, but we still will say, handball ref.
It's those sustained appeals, though, isn't it? But when you've refereed the game in that personal manner, listen, we're not all trying to be mates, but it's actually explaining the decision, and what you've done is made the decision so quickly, so clearly, so vocally, and then immediately awarded a corner, and then you haven't gone and ran off. Whereas, and then players start, hold on a minute, explain the decision. It's the way you've just handled it, walked away, no, corner, shook your head, and then the lad's just like, OK, it was a bit of a dubious appeal, but the sustained appeal is removed from that relationship and that being able to speak and you explain those decisions.
It's like
it's fascinating to see.
Being firm but fair.
Yeah.
And just gives an insight, Ruebyn, into your preparation for a game, because we know it from a playing point of view, but you've got to be fit enough, you've got to be mobile enough to get around the pitch, as we saw making that particular decision. What goes into your match day routine?
Lots, to be honest. I think, I'm very lucky that this is now my job.
Yeah.
I'm part of the PGMOL's ERDP referee programme, and that's now allowed me to go from sort of part-time referee to a full-time referee now. So I dedicate my life to this. So in terms of a normal week for us, our fixtures come out at Monday, 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
So in terms of that, as soon as that email lands in your inbox, preparation starts. In terms of training, we've got sports scientists that will plan a structured training programme around our week. So they're putting some strength and conditioning sessions in there, they'll put in some speed sessions in there, a bit of gym work. And then in terms of calls with our coaches, we have performance coaches. So then we'll look at clips from our previous game, pull the learning out, really look into detail, fine detail.
There's constant feedback, isn't there?
100%, it doesn't stop, to be honest. And, we go away. So I went away from Thursday night and reviewed Port Vale's game yesterday. And me and my coach looking at that in great depth. We pulled the learning out of things. Could have done this better. Could have tried to do a bit of this better. And it's continuous. It's a lot, and but it's great. This is something I'm so grateful to do for a job. But it's about learning. That's the key. This is not a finished product. We want to continue to learn every single week, and that learning never stops.
That's fascinating for me,
isn't it?
It's an insight that you never get to see because you're not in front of the cameras. You're not able to explain your decision. So to understand it from the back end and you can see the processes that you're now going through, because the rules are changing season upon season, almost week on week. So the job you have to do is very, very difficult. And to have that insight for me as a former player who was captain of clubs, and to have those relationships that at times you don't feel like you're maybe listened to or communicated correctly, it's fantastic. And for me, you did a fantastic job on Thursday night in that game. Kept it in such a big game for that division. So, yeah, fantastic.
Huge, Ruebyn. Thank you so much for joining us.